Okay, I'm seeing some really good things in here, guys. Okay, perfect. Okay, so as we all discuss, as you all read more in the book, feel free to add to that. That is distinctly your all. So you have full control over that. Usually, the professor wouldn't even know about it, but you know, wanted you all to have that experience so that you all could kind of see what it was like to be in a college classroom. And when somebody asked you, hey, do you want to be in a Google Doc with me? You understood the benefits of it and you were comfortable with that kind of formatting. So that is completely yours. The only reason that I would ever be on it is if, somebody typed in a question and was like, Miss Reid, blah, 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 and then I could interject and put it in there. Or if there was anything that was inappropriate to put in there, then I would just take it down because I don't know who did it. So don't be that person. Okay, so now we are going to switch fully into discussion mode. And like I said, if you all want to take notes in that document while we're doing it, feel free. So we are actually going to go back into our first reading, which was chapters 1 through 9, just to kind of get an overall feel of it and to help lead you all into this next reading, because we didn't get to talk about it a lot. So I wanted to do that a little bit before we got into today's. So the first thing that I wanted to do was on page 31, if you have your book, there are the last 3 paragraphs. And this is between Mr. Brocklehurst and Mrs. Reid. And they're talking about why they're sending Jane to Lowood. And Mrs. Reid says, I should wish her to be brought up in the manner suiting her prospects, continued my benefactress, to be made useful, to be kept humble. As for the vacations, she will, if you're with your permission, spend them always at Lowood. Your decision is perfectly judicious, madam, returned Mr. Brocklehurst. Humility is a Christian grace and one particularly appropriate to the pupils of Lowood. I, therefore, direct that special care shall be bestowed on its cultivation amongst them. I have studied how best to mortify them and then the worldly sentiment of pride, and only the other day I had pleasing proof of my success. My second daughter, Augusta, went with her mamma to visit the school, and on her return she exclaimed, oh dear papa, how quiet and plain all the girls at Lowood look, with their hair combed behind their ears and their long pinafores and those little hollow pockets outside their frocks. They are almost like poor people's children. And said she, they looked at my dress and mamma's as if they had never seen a silk gown before. This is the state of things I quite approve, returned Mrs. Reid. Had I sought all over England, I could scarcely have found a system more exactly fitting like a child like Jane Eyre. Consistency, my dear Mr. Brocklehurst. I advocate consistency in all things. So they're kind of talking between the lines, but they are really saying something about where they think Jane's place in the world is. And what do you think that is? And you all can just speak up and unmute yourself and go for it.
I think that Mrs. Reed has viewed Jane as like a child who definitely needs a lot of discipline and like needs someone to place a hand on her, and she doesn't really view her as much. So I think that the part that really stuck out to me is where the other daughter is saying, "Oh, they're like poor people's children," and I think that that really reflects how Miss Reed views Jane and how they see her place in the world to be.
Yeah. Typically, we view education as a way to move up in society and to help better yourself, but she seems to want Jane to stay in the same place in society as like a poor person's child. Anything else?